Hi everyone, it is me, Jordan Long here, and today I'm going to talk about a setting or a tool on Google Android and most likely on Apple iOS too. It's called Talkback. Now, you most likely may never work this setting. But Talkback setting is meant for the blind, I guess, for them to work the wise speaker. But here is the handicap that tool puts your wise speaker on. Knowing how good you are working Google Android or Apple iOS, this tool makes it where you can't do anything with your wise speaker. All it does is tell you what you're fingering, what you're clicking on, but it doesn't let you go into things. It just tells you names of shit. You know, you're going on Euro. I know I'm going on Euro. Can I go into Euro? No. I just tell you're going into Euro. That's bullshit. So let's say there was someone who was blind and they somehow shifted that tool on. Now you're telling me they're in a hand now you're telling me besides being their handicap is they can't see, making them blind, now you just handicapped a wise speaker. Yeah. Oh, that's dumb. And I got into this tool, but I got in this setting by mistake. Well, now you gotta fuck around and get out of it. That's a truly bad, that's a bad setup right there. You know, get into something by mistake and then make you fuck around and get out of it. Yeah, I don't know why Google and Apple make it so hard to get out of something that you get into by mistake. I get it. Google and Apple wanted the folks who were handicapped in some way, the ones that were hard of hearing, or the ones that couldn't hear at all, or the ones that were half blind or fully blind, to work the wise speaker. I get it. I understand that. But why does that setting handicap the wise speaker? You know, it instead of making it more smoother for, let's say, the deaf or the blind to, work the wise speaker, it makes it harder. So now they got to overcome. They did not now. Instead of overcoming what handicap they have to now overcome the handicap of the wise speaker with that tool. And if you get into it by mistake, they make it hard to get out of it. Oh, and you want to know how you get into it? I don't know. How? I don't know, but hitting the loudness setting? How the fuck would that do it? I don't know. I just get shifted on by, out of luck. So you're just sitting there and you're thinking, "Oh, you need this setting on." No, I don't. Most of the time it's off. And I don't want to get stuck in it again. So now there's one way I got to keep away from your rear being woken up from your sleep by going into the loudness settings on my wise speaker itself instead of going into the shortcut, which is bullshit, you know. And then to make me have to wrestle the wise speaker to get out of it, that's dumb. So a tool that was meant to help the handicapped make their wise speakers more workable, Google Android, Apple iOS, whatever one it runs off of, you make it harder for the handicapped and even the non-handicapped that work that tool. So, yeah, why do that for? Because they wouldn't be a handicap for them. I think it would be. I believe it would be. Without the tool on, if I just double tap or click or finger some tool or setting, I go into it smoothly. with you on, it's like hold down, it's like tap, it's like hold down the finger and tap sundriest times to get into some tool or some setting, you know, or to restart the Y speaker again or shut it down or whatever the hell. I think the tool has some flaws in it, and I think it needs to be worked on. And it's not only Google that made this mistake when it came to putting this in Google Android. Apple made the same mistake too when they put it in Apple iOS. So I think both businesses had the good thought. They just didn't make the tool work right. If you want a tool that just says talk back, then that's all it should do is talk back to you. It should not handicap you from working the Y speaker. So shouldn't do that. Well, yeah, I will say that Google and Apple did not make the tool very well. You know, they fucked up when they made that tool. They had some good thought behind it, but they didn't make me well. And my brother or sister is also on iOS, and it behaves the same way. Yeah. Well, guess what? I'm done falling into your little stunt. From now on, I have to go to the loudness settings and the settings of Google Android itself and not the shortcut, because that's where you're hiding your ugly leer now. Before then, it was hide it beside. It was like, oh, hide it when you're shifting between the shooter settings. Now you're hiding underneath the loudness settings. Where the fuck are you going to be hiding next? I don't know. Well, I don't want you on, so stop waking up. Yeah, and this talkback setting is in both Google Android and Apple iOS. So don't get it twisted to think that it's only something on Google Android. It's also on Apple iOS too. And it does make the Y speaker harder to work. And it's hard to get out of it. It's smooth to get into it if you want to get into it or by mistake. But it's hard to get out of it. And that's something that Google and Apple made a mistake on. They made a good tool, but they made it run badly. Alright, give this film a like, share it, playlist it, and I'll see you later.